Okay, hello again, everybody. Today we're going to talk about 2.8 part 2 notes. We're going to talk about equations of circles. We've talked about equations of ellipses and hyperbola, so we're going to talk about a similar shape and a similar type of equation, graphs and equations of circles. All right, so here we go. All right, first let's look at the generic parent function of the equation of a circle, okay? This is called the standard form of the equation of a circle, or the parent function equation. In this box right here, x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared equals radius squared. Now, you're going to have numbers in here in place of h, k, and r. You're not going to see the variables h, k, and r. There'll be numbers in here instead, okay? But you will see an x and a y like you normally do for most equations that you work with in graph. All right, now, the r obviously stands for the radius of the circle. And it is in squared form. A lot of times it looks like a normal number. So if it's a normal number, you take the square root of it to find the radius, okay? Over on the left side, you have the x and the y in parentheses being squared, both on the same side usually. And this will give you the coordinates of the center point. And that's really all you need to graph a circle. You need to know where the center point is, and you need to know how far to go out, or the radius of the circle, okay? So obviously, the parentheses with the x will give the x coordinate, and the parentheses with the y will give you, obviously, the y coordinate. But you do need to keep in mind that you need to think opposite. That's important, think opposite. Because whatever numbers in here that give you the x and y coordinates for the center point, because there are minus signs in the generic formula or equation, when you put numbers in and out, okay, you have to change the symbol, think opposite. So if it says x minus 7, it's really a positive 7 for the x coordinate. And let's say, for instance, it says y plus 5. A plus 5, it would really be a negative 5 for the y coordinate. Okay? Let's try some of these. All right, the first couple, we're just going to simply be given the center and radius and write the equation of the circle. That's it. All right, so here we go. Center negative 1 comma 4, radius is 6. So when you put these numbers in by the x and y, all right, think opposite. So when you put a negative 1 in, it's really going to be an x plus 1. So it's x plus 1 squared. And you add to that the y parentheses. So this is a positive 4 for y coordinate. But when you put it in, it's going to be a y minus 4. So it's going to look like a negative 4. So that's why you have to think opposite. And then it equals the r squared. Well, the radius r is 6. 6 squared is 36. And there you go. That would be the equation of the circle with center and radius given. All right, number 2. Center 0, negative 7, and the radius is square root of 5. Sometimes they give you the radius in radical form or square root form. Okay. All right, first, your x is 0, your y is negative 7. Now, when you put a 0 in, it basically just gets rid of the number. So all you have is an x squared. Okay, so keep that in mind. Remember that. If you have a 0 for one of your coordinates or numbers, it basically, you don't write a minus 0 or plus 0. You just get rid of it. So x squared. And then the negative 7 for y, so like a plus 7, because you got to think opposite. and that equals r squared. Well, r is square root of 5. So when you square that, it's just a normal 5. So you have it equal 5. Okay? So that's how you handle if the radius is in radical form and you're making the equation. Okay? All right, now we're going to practice some where we are given the equation and we're going to identify the radius and the center point and simply graph the equation. We're also going to quickly give the domain and range, and that's easy to do. I'll show you how to do that. All right, so number one, here's your equation. All right, you need to know where the center point is. So the center point would be positive 3 for x, think opposite, and negative 1 for y. So that's your center point. Your radius, you just take the square root if it's a normal number. Square root of 9 is 3, so the radius is 3. All right, now we can graph the circle. So 3, negative 1. And then from your center point, go up, down, left, and right. 3. So to the right 3, down 3 from the center, to the left 3 from the center, and up 3 from the center. And then just try to make the best circle you can. Don't cut the corners too much or it will look like something completely different. Go nice and round. Make a good full circle like such. All right? And there you go. Now, for domain and range, remember, domain are your x numbers that span left and right. Range are like your y values, which span up and down on the graph. So this is easy to do. Watch this. Domain, range. All right, domain, x, left and right. Well, it only goes from here to here. X values. So the minimum x is 0, and the maximum x is, I think that's going to be 6. So between 0 and 6. So your domain, and you can write it like this. You can write, since it can equal 0 and 6. Remember, you can write an interval from 0 to 6 like this, if you want. Okay? And then range is up and down. Okay, so up and down, for your y values, your maximum would be this y value, which over here is 2. And your minimum y value is down here, negative 4. So between negative 4 and 2 for your range y values, you can write that interval like this, between negative 4 and 2, minimum, maximum. And since it can equal, you put the brackets, and that's how you write your domain and range. Okay? Let's try one more in the back, number 2. All right, for this one, first of all, the center point. Remember, if there's no number, it's a 0. So a 0 here and a 0 for y. So 0, 0, the origin is your center point. And for the radius, you take the square root. So that's 8. So let's graph center at 0, 0, radius of 8. So here's your radius 0, 0, and you go up 8, down 8, left 8, right 8. So you can graph your circle. Now for domain and range. Domain are x's from negative 8 to positive 8. So you can write the interval like such. And for the range, it's the same, from negative 8 to positive 8. And there you go, guys. A little bit about circles, how to get the equation, how to graph it, a little bit about domain and range as well. Okay, that's it for today. See you in a couple days with our next lesson. Bye-bye.